I basically lost my boyfriend to manosphere content. And that was the beginning of the end. I didn't know it though. One day, I came home. I was in my vanity room. Okay, I have a room just for myself with my clothes and my makeup. In that room, I have a TV. One day, my ex, he comes in my room where I'm decompressing, mind you. And he goes on my TV and he says, "Baby, I want you to watch this creator with me." Okay? And I said, "Oh, okay," because at this point, me and him have been together for about a good 3 years. So I feel like when he was suggesting content to me, it's because he thought that I also might enjoy it. So I said, "Oh, okay, what type of content does he make?" And he says, "Well, he comes on his platform and he invites women on there and he basically argues with them." And I shit y'all not, the first question that came out of my mouth after he said that was, "Is he gay?" Because in my mind, I don't know an actual real man who goes out about his way to argue with a woman just to tell her about herself. Because in my reality, okay, that don't happen, right? I didn't grow up with men who were around me that did that type of shit. And the ones that did do that type of shit, they were gay. So that's why I asked that question. He starts to laugh and he's like, "Nah, he's not gay. It's just that he likes to debate. He likes to go back and forth with the women and tell them how they're wrong." And I was like, okay, just go ahead and put it on. This motherfucker gonna put on Kevin Samuels. Mind you, I did not know who the hell he was at that point. And most people didn't know who he was at that point because he didn't blow up yet. He puts him on. And mind you, I'm just listening because I'm not watching. I'm taking off my makeup and shit. I'm hearing the content. I'm just like, I look at my ex at one point. I'm just like, "Can you take him off my TV, please?" So my ex just starts to laugh and he's like, "Oh, what, you don't like him?" I'm like, "Hell no, I don't like him." And then I start to like question him, like, why the fuck would I like him? So fast forward, me and my ex get into an argument. So we get into this fight, and basically he asked me why I wouldn't do something, like, or why I wasn't like taking him serious or paying attention to him about some shit he was trying to say. I can't really remember, but I told him, "I cannot take you seriously because you don't pay any of my fucking bills. That's why I'm not taking shit that you're saying seriously." This motherfucker gonna say, "This is why women end up alone."
And he's not wrong because you gonna sit here. First of all, is disrespect to Saint Kev. Saint Kev actually woke people up. Second of all, I don't think that that's an unreasonable ask to say, "Hey, why you not paying attention to what it is that I'm telling you," or so on and so forth. Because if your response is because you don't pay none of my bills, this is an example of what Kevin used to preach to people. He used to talk to men and women. The first thing he would say to men is, "Y'all need to get yourselves together and level up," because he was harder on the men than he was on the women before he even started talking to the women. And now you realize you was with him for 3 years, but you was just using him. You were using him as a punching bag. You were using him because you knew that he was not self aware enough to be able to realize that he probably, if he got himself together, could qualify for a better situation. Now, I'm not on the looks thing. I ain't on none of that. I'm just chilling and I'm just actually having a conversation about the reality of what she's talking about. When you level up, you don't have to listen to people talk to you like you less than, because they don't really want a partner. They want a person that they can punch on, that they can control. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of women were absolutely disgusted with Kevin Samuels, is because he told the truth. He told the truth to men, and men loved him for holding them accountable because he helped them get to a better space and he helped them to be a lot more successful within their own lives. And as a good friend of Kevin, I will tell you that, he was just straight up. He didn't pull no punches. He was realistic. He just absolutely said what was on his mind. But more importantly, the most important thing for Kevin Samuels was that he actually wanted to get people what they wanted, and he wanted people to be having, have strong families, and your preferences might have been out of whack. So for a guy, a lot of times that started to listen to Kevin Samuels, it's not that she lost her relationship to manosphere or red pill content, because all red pill means is that you look at it for the truth. Whether you're talking about finances, reality, politics, or relationships, you look at it for the truth of what it is. She lost her relationship because the guy started to wake up and realize, not only should I level up my life, but I should also not be also dealing with the disrespect from coming from somebody that don't really respect me, and that's why she feel comfortable talking to me like this. How can you sit there and say because you don't pay my bills and y'all been in a relationship for 3 years. Because if a guy says that to a woman, and this is the toxicity that came along with feminism, if a guy says that to a woman, even if she doesn't pay her bills, it would still be looked at as disrespect. Why? Because y'all are in a relationship and y'all are one. Let's hear the rest of what she got to say. I'm curious now.
I said, what women do you know that are ending up alone? He was like, that's the shit that I see when I'm watching those videos. Because he started to watch just not only Kevin, but he was watching, other influencers who had the same type of content. So I told him, this is where I had to break it down for him a little bit. I had to hurt his feelings. I didn't really want to do it, but I'm just like, you getting out of fucking hand. Like, you really getting out of line. I was like, I don't know why someone like you is watching content from people like them. You, first of all, don't have the same money as them. You don't have the same lifestyle as them. You don't have the resources they have, and you don't have the platform they have. So why the fuck is someone like you being influenced by someone like that?
Can you imagine a woman talking to you like that and y'all are together for the last 3 years? Really, she probably unlocked him. She probably confirmed exactly what guys like him that are creating content like him was saying, and then ultimately it unlocked him to the points where he realized, you know what? I do need to get up out of here. I do need to get myself together, and I can do better than a chick that don't even respect me in our own household. That's crazy.
You, a grown ass man, almost into his 30s, because at this point he was like 29, 28 or something like that. Almost into his 30s, you're listening to another grown man. You don't have your own ideology set. You don't have your own morals and values to follow. You're letting somebody else that don't even fucking knows that you exist influence you. And you're a grown ass man. You try to say you're a grown ass man. That's fucking.
I take advice, insight, information, and more importantly, I take wisdom from anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. Most of the time, it'll come from a guy. Uh, Plenty of people have insight and information or have more knowledge than you or lived experiences. And I take my insight from a lot of people. So, yeah, this is a manipulation tactic. This is a really great opportunity to really emphasize some things. And I wonder, did she find another simp? And are we gonna find that out at the end of the story, or is she still alone by herself?
Crazy. I didn't understand that. I really didn't. Because, yeah, social
I don't
media.
see no accountability for herself for the way that she talked to people. If he was such a bum, if he was such trash, if he was such not having money and all of this, why was she with him in the first place other than to manipulate him and control him?
Is fun, but I cannot say I've ever been influenced by a fucking creator on here. Because, bitch, if you're trying to sell me some shit and I don't want it, I'm gonna keep fucking scrolling. If it sounds like some shit that don't sound right, I'm gonna let you know it don't sound right. But it's hardly ever I get influenced by somebody on here. And this grown ass man wants me to take him serious. The one that's getting influenced by somebody, the one that don't pay bills. You want me to take you serious? What the fuck? I said you need to stop listening to the motherfuckers. Cause they got you fucked up. And now you got me fucked up. He just shut the fuck up. He didn't say nothing else. He didn't say shit after that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to you when I get home, and I hung up, and that was the end of that conversation. I should have known that that was gonna be a problem. Okay? Now, another thing too, if you have
I'm gonna talk to you when I get home like you a child?
a boyfriend that has, and this is not all of them. This is not all of them. This was just the one that I had. And there are many others that are like him. Okay, so please don't get this confused. Do not run with this shit. Okay, sometimes men, where they have an absence of a father in their life, if he sees a man talking about things that other men respond well to, then he will also try to adopt their ideas, adopt that behavior, because they think that a man is teaching them something that they don't know, because they didn't have one growing up. So now they're looking for that, is what I'm trying to say. I hope I said that right. My thing is this though, if you're gonna listen to them type of people, you gotta make sure everything else in your life matches up with them too. Okay, not just your mentality about women. You gotta make sure your finances match up. You gotta make sure your looks match up. You gotta make sure all the decisions that you make in your life gotta match up with theirs too. See, it's more than just having, an influenced mind, right? If you really feel like how that person feels and you want your life to reflect that, you want to move how they move, you got to have your whole life looking just like how theirs look. And his life wasn't looking like that. Okay, like I said, he wasn't doing anything other than the bare minimum. And I really do feel like that was the beginning of the end, tip of the iceberg. Also, it's no shade to Kevin Samuels. I know that that man passed away. I'm not trying to disrespect him, but that was part of my story. Also, I do want to say this, okay? I saw some comments in my last video that they were saying I was rage baiting. Bitch, this ain't no fucking rage baiting. I told you what the fuck happened and I left. I hardly even responded to most of the comments on there because most people thought that I was just saying shit just because I wanted to get reactions. No, I gave my confessional, my testimonial, and I fucking left. Like, there really is nothing else, to rage bait about. I told y'all a story that happened.
Then I'm wondering why she's still talking about it if it wasn't nothing or if it wasn't meaningful, and why she still feels a need to have these conversations if you left and it wasn't that big of a deal. Listen, fellas, you can do better. You can level up. You can continue to grow, and you don't have to deal with the disrespect. Guys that deal with this type of disrespect are guys that absolutely are subjected to it and they not controlling their own destiny. Once you start to get your own money, once you start to level up, once you become completely independent from anybody being able to tell you what you want to do, what you're going to do, then you start to control the narrative. Then you can start to determine what can and can't happen in your life. Let me know what y'all think about this. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.